a little bit of a gruff exterior, actually a lot of one, but I have a tinge of softiness. So what Jay is going to play is from May 12th, 2010. Jay.
So Reverend Holt, this is Kathy Crane. I'm calling from the Unitarian Fellowship of Clemson in South Carolina, and we are looking at your ministerial record. We are interested in talking to you, to interview you for the position of our interim minister. The telephone number here at the fellowship where we are this evening is 864-654-5959. We'd like to set up an appointment to interview with you. If you can't reach us here this evening, because we'll just be here for a little bit longer, please call me at my home in Seneca. We are interested to know if you've seen the summary sheet about the UU Fellowship of Clemson, and if you've taken a look at our website, and if you're interested in talking to us. Thanks very much.
Don't call her. I couldn't think of an easy way to delete your number, so it's on there. But that's one of two voice messages I have on this sad, out-of-touch, out-of-date 20th century, actually early 21st century BlackBerry. And the other one is the last voice message I have from my sister. And in some ways, they're both similar in ways because they're very poignant now at this stage of my life. They represent in some ways beginnings and endings both. So for the last time, let me thank Monica for your lovely music. And are Paula and Jorge hiding here someplace? There they are. Thank you for your music too. And as I said to Sandra and to Andy and anyone else who has been an usher. Well, 2 years ago when I got here, I shared my personal rules, my personal 5 rules of ministry, of interim ministry. Now they change with each place I'll go. They stay roughly similar, but pieces of them change. So when I go to Bend next month, I'll have more rules or different ones for them. The rules I had in this order 2 years ago in August were these. No special friendships. It's your vision and not mine. We're going to have fun. Actually, I said it a little bit differently. But we're going to have fun. I'm gone at the end of 2 years. And it's going to be a going-away party with chocolate at the end. What I'd like to do is give you a final report because you're the people that pay me, and I really should give you an annual report. And this will be actually in reverse order. And because you are the beloved community that I've come to love and appreciate, I think it's good that I do this one more time. So in reverse order, well, there's a going-away party. I know and expect everyone is invited. I also know the chocolate is involved. Need I say more? To those of you who have planned it and organized it, especially Paula, but I know others, and if you brought your little goodies or big goodies or whatever, I appreciate that very much. I will say that we're going to try to save a few items of dark chocolate for Aaron and Pam Milton, who could not be here because her father is in the hospital and she's with him, but he's recovering. So I promised that I'd save some chocolate for them. Okay, that's rule number 1. Pretty straightforward. Rule number 2. 2 years and done. Yes, I'm leaving soon for Bend, Oregon, where I was earlier this week, and I did find a very nice home with tall fence outside where cats cannot get out. My next 2-year adventure, yeah, right, as if. Hope springs eternal. My 2-year adventure there will begin shortly, and I'm history. Just as my predecessor, Cynthia Prescott, who's going to be now starting a new interim ministry in Macon, Georgia. One of the rules of any interim ministry is to begin saying goodbye on our first day. It's a reminder that we're really temporary employees. The rule is supposed to remind us, particularly the minister, that we can't get too attached, because our instinct will be to get very attached to you. As I said a few weeks ago, you're very easy to be attached to, and I've come to love and appreciate you with your gifts, your occasional challenges, and your wonderful quirkiness. Nonetheless, I am a temporary presence. As I told the children a couple weeks ago, I am a substitute minister. You're going to get the real thing in a few weeks. Being a substitute means that we just can't get too attached. Otherwise, the purpose of the interim minister, which is to be an occasional SOB, hopefully a truth teller, and then helping to effect change very quickly, is made much more difficult. Now, of course, we did get attached together if we work well, and we did. And I'm going to miss you all because you changed the course of my life and my ministry. And for that and much more, I am deeply indebted to you. Now, another reason of the 2 years means that you're going to be able to appreciate the next person, Terry Bailoff, with whom hopefully you're going to have a long and glorious ministry together. She will learn your names, presuming that you all wear your name tags, children and youth included. She will settle in with you as a person invited to share your home and your stories, and she'll share hers. You know, of course, or you probably don't know, but there will be an installation service later this year or early next year to officially welcome her as your minister. And it will be a glorious event. And there'll probably be more chocolate. As Steve Jobs wrote in a comment on the right side of your bulletin, you're going to help each other connect the dots of your future. They're not connected. And that's part of the work you will all be doing. Third rule, we're going to have fun. I say that to every congregation. In fact, I said it to Ben the other day. And they actually are kind of a fun group, just as you are. I think that having a sense of joy and fun in the serious church work of church is essential. Any religion that avoids joy, humor, lightheartedness, and not taking ourselves too seriously is a religion of gloom and doom. We have enough of that in this day and age. We don't need to repeat it. I think a lot of you have had fun this last 2 years, and I certainly did much of the time. However, not everybody did. A few times I had to deliberately hurt people's feelings to set boundaries. A couple of folks left and may or may not be back after I leave. That's up to them. I take full responsibility for the forthright and straightforward and blunt approach that I take as part of interim ministry to set boundaries with people. That is my responsibility and it's part of my job. Other times, however, were not excusable. I could be arrogant, rude, or just plain annoying with my tendency to interrupt or not pay full attention. I might come up with ideas before anyone else had a chance to share theirs. It's not really appropriate. One of my major regrets is that I'm not very good with pastoral care. Ministers can't be good at everything, but pastoral care obviously is important in long-term ministry. It's not one of my skills, and I own it. It's going to be a learning curve for me as long as I do this vocational life. There are a number of people who could have used more pastoral presence, and I think of them daily. I acknowledge that in the last 2 years, I have hurt feelings of others or hurt people I did not wish to harm. There are, as I said, a few times when it had to be done for the sake of the congregation, because the congregation is always more important than any one person. However, for those other unfortunate occasions, I say this to you all, and I say it 3 times. For anything I have done in thought, word, or deed that has caused hurt or harm, I offer my apologies and I ask your forgiveness. For anything I have done in thought, word, or deed that has caused hurt or harm, I offer my apologies and I ask your forgiveness. Finally, for anything I have done in thought, word, or deed that has caused harm or hurt, I offer my apologies and I ask your forgiveness. The fourth Alex rule is, it's your vision and not mine. Well, I lied. Well, no, it's mixed. It's a little white lie. It's actually combined. My hope was and is that your vision would be far wider than the influence of that little university up the road. Moving beyond the influence of Clemson University makes you a place where you can imagine a radius of 20 miles in all directions as your community, if you so wish. I believe then and now that your vision is for a 21st century charter for compassion that Pat and so many others have offered you to all of Clemson and beyond in the work we did last year for the 10th anniversary of 9/11 and for the other work we've done with the Charter for Compassion that Karen Armstrong started. I had a vision that focusing on the after the main service social time would be more welcoming to new visitors and veterans alike, and that seems to be working. I believed then and now that if you truly want to build a robust lifespan religious education program, you will, and you can, with the staff and financial support that works. And it's going to be a long-term project. Ultimately, you have to look in the mirror that we in ministry hold up to you. And you hold it up to us as well, by the way. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Is it satisfactory, or is there more work to be done? In the end, it's going to be the shared process of ministry that's going to be your vision. Not just to be here on Sunday mornings, but what do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? It's going to be shared by the young and the elderly, the gay and the straight. It'll be the millennial generation as much as baby boomer generation. It'll be all of you without labels. When you look in the mirror of possibility, what do you see? That is your vision. Finally, the fifth rule, no special friendships. I remember saying this rule a couple years ago, and there was a sigh that went through the congregation. Why? All you have to do is read the consulting report that Dr. Helen Bishop prepared for you, and most of you have, and if you're new and you want to read it, we can get it for you. It was basically a systemic breakdown that happens very commonly in congregations of any sort. It happens in Buddhist communities, it happens in synagogues, it happens in temples, it happens here. It's inevitable. The system basically got broken down. And no one had bad intentions, it just happened. The key for me, though, is this truth, and this is sort of another rule of mine. Ministers cannot rely on one person. They cannot even rely on a special small group. That's what happened here. Why that reliance happened is beyond my knowledge. As I said, I do not believe anyone had bad intentions. My own personal opinion is that any reliance between a professional ordained minister and individual lay people is utterly inappropriate. Period. My understanding of professional ministry in the Unitarian Universalist movement, and I'd say other places as well, is that we rely on our colleagues first and foremost. We've all been through it together. I have a great mentor who is actually moving from Raleigh, where he does an interim, to Eugene, Oregon, to do an interim. So Don and I will actually be able to get together. He has taught me an enormous amount about the work and tools of interim ministry and conflict resolution. We rely on our colleagues. Second thing is we rely on what is called the Committee on Ministry at every congregation, and you will have one here after Terry gets here, to help us get through the bumps and confusion and challenges of ministry. The transition team here, would the people here on the transition team raise your hands? You all were great, and you did a fantastic job. And you know, and I know, that we did some hard work together, including some work of conflict resolution. It took honesty and trust and perseverance, but we did it, and we didn't hide anything. That's what a good committee on ministry and a minister do. That's what a congregation does. We rely on good boundaries and guidelines, such as the relational covenant that you passed unanimously a couple of weeks ago at the congregational meeting. And most of all, we ministers rely on a shared and tender trust with one another to be in right relationship. It doesn't mean it's always going to be pretty, but we're going to be in relationship. Terry and I have talked about this rule several times in the last few weeks. What she's told me, I'm paraphrasing slightly, is that she does enjoy doing social things with members of the congregation, and she wants to be deeply connected to all of you. She will not have friendships that are exclusive. They are not, she says, in anyone's best interest. Her job is to build and grow a healthy congregation. So when she's here, she's going to spread herself out to connect with lots of folks and not to focus with one person or a small group. That is her practice of ministry, and that is the way it's going to be. I do not believe that the events of the last few years will happen again here in the foreseeable future. Almost everyone has learned an important lesson, and I mentioned it a few weeks ago. To the extent we can, we must all try to leave our egos at the door and become something much more important than we are ourselves. No one is indispensable. Now, that takes care of the serious stuff. Now, I want to present a couple of gifts. Deborah reminds me that giving gifts to any one person might seem like favoritism, and I am mindful of that. You may recall that I gave the youth group the gift of an antique Asian scroll some weeks ago. I have two others to share. If anyone is here from the meditation group on Tuesdays, could you come on up? On Tuesday nights, we get together at 7, and we do 40 minutes of silent sitting meditation, and then we have tea and we talk and so on. None of these people ever falls asleep. This is an amazing fact which most meditation groups do not achieve. I'm going to give you this bell that we've used in the group as well as here on Sundays. I'm giving it to you with the deepest appreciation for all you've done and given in your practice. It has been just a real joy to be working with you, and the only request I have is that you keep it here in order for it to be used on Sundays. And I'm going to have to keep it up here, but it's going to stay right there, and I will leave this in your hands. And I would ask that every time you ring it, sometimes you remember the fun we had. Because it was fun, wasn't it? Yes, it was. It was fun. Let's say it was fun. Anyway, so is this acceptable to give to you as a gift? Okay, thank you very much. You can go back. Now, Deborah gave me the guideline And oh, by the way, after we're done and we're having the party down there, I have my laptop with me, and I'm going to put Deborah on Skype so she can see the chocolate, of course, but more importantly, you, and you can wave at her. Would that be okay? All right, good. 21st century. That's what I love about it. Now, it was about 3 weeks ago that Deborah said, now, Alex, remember, no personal gifts because it shows favoritism. Important, right? Good. I'm going to break it right now. Julie, could you please come up? Julie has been the administrator here. Just stay right there. I'm still your supervisor.
Yes,
so
you are. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's shake on that. Julie has been the administrator here for several years. She has created order out of chaos. She has transformed grumpiness into friendliness. And she's been a friend to everyone who has come through the office doors, even if occasionally it was a stretch. Julie's going to be leaving us by December to focus on her family and her busy life, because you have a very busy life, indeed. I will not be here, so I'm going to offer you a gift. You don't have to run away. This bronze tray was created in the mid-19th century by bronze workers in Japan after the samurai were banned. They no longer could make swords, and so they expanded out to make this bronzeware. What I did was, because it seemed appropriate, I made basically a Zen garden. You can see it a little bit. And it was quite gorgeous. It is, however, I had to have it here at the office because it's filled with sand and I have 2 cats. Now, where I am going to Bend, they do not have a minister's office. My office will be at home. I say again that I have 2 cats. More importantly, however, I would like to offer this to you as a way of my gift of appreciation for all you've done for me, for this fellowship, and for the work that you have really, I think sometimes without any thanks, sometimes under stressful times, that you have done for all of us, including many things that I know you've done that you really have never been thanked for. I hope that the sand and the stone in here, which you can move around, will be something that will help your stress from time to time. Okay. Before we sing, and then we adjourn to the long-planned party, I want to share one last thing. There's a prayer or blessing that the Dalai Lama has given in various books, including Ethics for the New Millennium. He translated it from a much older text from the 8th century Common Era. It's one of my very favorite prayers. I'm going to keep with the words he uses with I, but it's really for each of you, and it's for you as a congregation in your work in the world. I share it with you so you can carry its words and vision forward, both as individuals and as a community. At the end, I will ring the bell one more time, and I'd ask us to breathe through the sound of the bell till the end, and then we will sing. Here are his words. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector for those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, and finally, a servant for all those who are in need. Thank you. These closing words is from an Irish blessing. May you always have walls for the winds, a roof for the rain, tea or coffee by the fire, laughter to cheer you, those who you love near you, and all your heart may be filled with joy at the beginning, at the middle, and the end. Peace, amen, shalom, blessed be, farewell.